It's Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. It's hour number 2, and it's abbreviated hour number 2. Sean Stiers, Jesse Stiers, Bobby Hensley is now with us. Good to have you, Bobby.
Bobby, where are you?
I'm in a office. Why? Where are you? Look at that hat. Is it cold there?
It's freezing. It looks like you're in a kitchen and you have a cupboard open.
I know. Well, it's funny because Sean and I did a test to make sure the internet worked earlier, and he said that my background looked boring. So I angled it. You can see an open cabinet.
I said it looked boring, so this is what he came up with for the background. This is less boring than what he had before for anyone watching on the YouTube channel.
Well,
By the way, subscribe to the Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel so you can see all the infamy, everything behind it. Okay, we've got a short time, so we don't have time to waste with this chit chat here, boys and girls. It's time to get going.
Enough of the pleasantries.
That's right. We've got Notre Dame hockey coming up here in a little bit. We had some interesting news out of Southern California today. USC athletic director Jen Cohen released this statement regarding non-conference scheduling. She talks about how no other team in the Big Ten is playing non-conference games after week 4 and all this stuff. And so I'll read as quick as I can, quote, intentionally making our road to the CFP significantly more difficult than our Big Ten peers does not align with our goal to win championships. That said, we want to play meaningful games, and we recognize USC's unique position in college football history. USC is the only FBS program that has never played an FCS opponent. We embrace the challenging matchups. They prepare us for conference play, excite our fan base, and grow our brand and revenues. That is why, of our 3 non-conference games each year, we will schedule at least one Power 4 opponent. If that opponent is a rival with whom we share a long and storied tradition, all the better. Okay, so that is from USC Athletic Director Jen Cohen. So, what do we make of this? Are we significantly feeling any better about the continuance of the Notre Dame USC football rivalry going forward after this? Jesse.
I'll take the lead on this one.
Someone's got to go first.
This was a big word salad. The way I sum this up is USC proclaims they want to play big games, but not big enough games that they might lose, and especially if one of those games is a non-conference game on the road in October, right? So it's just like this was a very pointed word salad that had to directly do with Notre Dame, but she didn't mention Notre Dame one single time. And it's like, we all know who you're talking about.
Right.
We all know who you're talking about, right? And so it's just like, just I don't know. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it.
Come out and say the thing that you want, that you don't want to say. Just say it. Just say it.
It annoys me because we've been going around this thing for months now with USC. Do you want to play him or not? It's very simple.
Exactly.
And you know why they want to play him? It's because they still want that Netflix game where they can go to Mexico City and play it. They want Notre Dame when it's convenient for them, but they don't really want that on their schedule if it doesn't benefit them in multiple ways. It's like, okay, like Jesse, you said word salad. I really like that. I also had a hard time listening to Sean because I just keep looking at that hat. I need to know where to buy one. But I just either we're going to do this or not. Why do we have to keep talking about it? Why are you going to be so vague and say nothing? Like that's what that statement was nothing to me.
And I mean, I only read part of the statement, and there's so much more to the statement that's even beyond that. There were so many words saying nothing in this statement that she released when all she really had to do was come out and say, yes, we're going to play Notre Dame. Like that's really what it's all about. Either you're in or you're out. There's no middle ground at this point. And I think that a lot of Notre Dame fans are just over it, like Joe Allen is saying in the YouTube chat right now. But I will commend Southern Cal for this. This is like the one point that I will give her in any of this where she says, where she talks about the non-conference games, and she said that they will include, a power four opponent, among the non-conference opponents, because as I've said over and over and over again, The Big Ten is the only one of the Power Four conferences right now that is not requiring its teams to play at least one non-conference Power Four game. Obviously non-conference being beyond their conference schedule. So they're all playing 9-game schedules. The others, the Big Ten is still the only one that hasn't also mandated, in addition to your 9 conference games against Power Four teams, you got to play one non-conference. So, I will give them that, and obviously it leaves room open for Notre Dame to be in there. But she won't just come out and say, "Yes, we want to play Notre Dame. We're going to play Notre Dame." She wants to keep playing coy and teasing and all these things. Just get it done already. If you really want to do it, just get it done.
The line that stuck out the most to me of this whole paragraph: strategic scheduling is a key competitive advantage, and it is one we must align on. If we don't, we will allow our rivals to leverage us against ourselves, and that can never happen. So I don't understand how Notre Dame is leveraging against USC. You're losing the game. That's the only leverage there is. You are losing the game, and it is making your path to the college football playoff harder. Right. That is the only reason. So you're not being leveraged against anyone. You just can't win a football game.
Right. Like USC wasn't complaining about playing Notre Dame when Pete Carroll was there and they were pounding Notre Dame into the dirt every year. It wasn't an issue then, but now you happen to be losing. Like any rivalry, any series, any team that you play over and over and over again, there are going to be ebbs and flows in who wins and who loses these games. Right now, USC happens to be on the wrong end of all that. But, you can't use this as an excuse just because that happens to be where it is right now. Because, again, when Pete Carroll was there, they were winning national championships and dominating this rivalry, and you didn't see Notre Dame trying to back out of it at that time or ever.
Yeah. I'll always – so, sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
No, go ahead, Jesse.
I was just going to say, I'll always say, if USC truly believes they're a college football playoff contender and a national championship caliber team, then you should have no problem beating Notre Dame. Notre Dame, that should be your test. If you think you're truly a college football team and you're truly a national championship level team, then you should have no problem beating Notre Dame along the way.
Especially if you're almost going to try and treat Notre Dame like little brother, which is almost the vibe that USC is kind of putting out there. They think that it's beneath them almost to play Notre Dame. Notre Dame, we'll see if we can fit it in on our time, on our stuff. And then part of that statement too bothers me because it's they say they've never played a Division II opponent. Yeah, but you're
FCS,
scheduling
not Division II, FCS.
FCS, sorry. But you're still scheduling some teams that you're better than. So it
Missouri
doesn't
State.
matter.
Yes.
So stop trying to humble brag on yourself for doing nothing really and scheduling weak opponents anyway. But the whole USC thing, I just keep thinking they make themselves look bad every statement they have. And as long as this keeps going on, what are we doing? Just make your schedules, play Notre Dame. It's going to happen anyway. You need it. Like Jesse said, plus, even if you lose to Notre Dame, if Notre Dame's good, that helps you in the rankings because at the end of the year, your strength of schedule will be better.
You've got a better.
It's a win-win.
Exactly. And because you're in a conference, as Pat Narduzzi was alluding to earlier this week, you play a good game, especially if you play a close game with Notre Dame or any other good, non-conference team that you happen to play. It doesn't have to be Notre Dame, but you play a good close game and that still works in your favor as a result. And you still have an opportunity to win your conference. It doesn't matter one way or another, but you're going to be rewarded for it because of the strength of record and the strength of schedule and everything else. All right, we've made an executive decision during the break. The show is going to end in about 17 minutes on the air, but we'll probably go into a little bit of overtime. We won't go too much longer, but I want to make sure we get a few of these questions in here, and everyone's kind of having a Friday.
I got places to be. All right.
Well, you should have responded to the text. You didn't say anything.
Oh,
you had the opportunity.
He can't see that phone over that hat.
Yeah, I know. The green hat is messing him up. James wants to know if Michigan and USC are going to end up leaving the Big Ten. I don't know how closely you guys have been following this whole thing, but they're doing, the private equity thing in the Big Ten, and USC and Michigan are the only two schools that have voted against it, but part of that deal includes an extension of the TV grant of rights that would run through 2046. The current deal ends in 2036. So USC and Michigan could very well end up going their own way. But I mean, anything that happens isn't going to happen for 11 more years at this point, because they're both still going to get a boatload of TV money every year. So I don't know, like what you guys think of that.
They're not going anywhere. This is just hot smoke. Everyone thinks because Notre Dame has this quote unquote easy schedule and 2 losses, they can get in the playoff. Oh, we should just all go independent. Independence being easy. Anyone can be independent. It's not that easy. Not everyone can do it. If there were teams out there to potentially do it, I would say that Michigan and USC are candidates, but it's just not going to happen.
No, I mean, any of those blue blood programs like Texas or Oklahoma, they could probably be on that tier as well. But you need the network money to be able to be independent. I mean, again, it always comes down to money. A lot of dead presidents going around, but Michigan and USC, they need to be in a conference. That's how it's set up now. Now, could they break away or pull off and make a smaller conference? Maybe something of that nature. But I
wouldn't rule out the SEC for a school like Michigan either, as a potential landing spot.
I'm tired of the conference stuff. Every year they're just changing and talking. It's the same thing as their statement about playing Notre Dame. All this is fodder for us to talk about, but really it's just all talk. And I think everybody's just positioning themselves to try and get more money and make themselves look better and stronger.
Bobby, did a pirate ship suddenly appear in your background there? What is that over your shoulder?
Yeah, it's a ship, It's my second favorite kind of ship, because my first favorite kind is friendship, because it's a ship that never sinks. Well, he's got a hat. I had to get some gimmick. I had 30 seconds. I ran and found a ship.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. I like it. Fill in the blank. It means blank that Notre Dame linebacker Drayk Bowen says the Fighting Irish have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because of the people who think the team doesn't deserve the college football playoff ranking they have.
To me, it's necessary. When you're going on this late in the season, you're fighting for a college football playoff chance. What's on the line, but I think every now and then it's good enough to kind of hear that chatter and listen and say, people really don't think we're good enough, right? And so I don't think that Notre Dame needs any of that extra, bulletin board material or whatever you want to call it. But I always think that it's good to play with that kind of underdog mentality, to play with a little bit more aggression. That kind of, we want to prove ourselves and show you why we're one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, any motivation's good motivation, but I don't think there's a single play when they're on the field and they're like, all right, remember this, and that's why I want to play a little bit harder. But, I mean, it's always good to see that people, they're not ignoring the narrative and they know what's going on, and it's a response. I enjoy that. I like hearing it. I like that it's not a negative, and, you back yourself up, you support your team, you make it sound good. I don't think it means anything on game day, but I'm glad that they're at least aware, like, hey, we got to keep doing these style points. We got to keep winning and looking good. And I think it's a positive.
Sometimes you worry, that they're thinking about the wrong things and, where their focus is and stuff like that. But in this case, I think that you need a little bit of extra juice at this point in the season. And I think that if they're playing with a chip, like they've got to go out and prove themselves every week, there's nothing wrong with that, because people are knocking their schedule, and every week it's a different, whether it's BYU or, you had the Louisville fans, obviously, you got the Miami fans and the ACC coming at you about who belongs and who doesn't, and the head-to-head and all these different things. I think it's a good thing, if that makes you kind of knuckle down and practice a little bit harder during the week because you feel like you got to go out and prove it on Saturday. I feel like ultimately, that's nothing but a good thing.
I think it's almost like more rewarding once you do well then, because that it's out there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not even motivational, but it rewards you after the game.
We got topics. Let's go, people.
Oh, Jesse's all of a sudden in a big hurry to get going. Was it
Gonzo on his head?
Because we threatened to stay a little bit later here tonight. We talked about Marcus Freeman a couple times in the first hour of the show with, all the outside interest and stuff like that. Joseph in the YouTube chat wants to know any discussion development on a contract extension. I mean, there's nothing right now, and I don't expect anything to happen while the regular season is going on. I would not be shocked if, just like last year, something happens in December once the regular season is over and you're looking toward the playoffs and those kind of things. And I also wouldn't be surprised if rather than even, like adding on to that contract extension, which he already had extended, remember, again, less than a year ago, if it just comes in the form of some other things, other benefits around the program, whether it's, even raises for, assistant coaches or, just other, like extra revenue for, for players and those kind of things. I wouldn't be shocked if it comes in that form rather than just a traditional, like extra contract extension.
Always funny how those contracts kind of don't mean anything, isn't it? Every year you get an extension or a raise.
Okay, so Jesse's
silent because he's doing this.
I know. He's like, come on. I just
no. Bring that banner back up, or bring that question back up again. I like when we don't have to see Bobby.
Well, if you pull that hat down, we don't have to see you very much. That'd be nice.
Oh, there we go. That's good. There we go.
Salty Virginia Peanuts in the YouTube chat wants to know if Jesse's friend Barney made the hat for him.
Hey, this is the dark green. This is Notre Dame green. The wife made this. I
think it's very festive. I think it's a fun, festive hat. People are knocking the hat. I think it's fun and festive.
And the thing is my wife is going to be wearing it. I'm just wearing it.
She's wearing it. You're just showing it off today.
I'm just debuting.
Well, she already wears the pants. She might as well wear the hat.
Hey, I'm just happy that she's going to go and she made the hat and she's going to have a good time.
Pitt allows just 80.9 rushing yards per game this season. Scale of 1 to 10. What's your confidence Jeremiyah Love tops that number by himself, Bobby?
I'm going to put it at 7. I think that he will, but I'm not going to go over the top with it. I think that's a really good, interesting number. I think he will, but I'm not super confident in it.
I like Bobby's number, surprisingly. I'm going to go 7 to 10. I want to say 8 out of 10. I think he's going to get this. I have this sneaky feeling that this is Jeremiyah Love's Heisman game. I think I asked Vince this question yesterday in rapid fire. I think he's going to rack up close to 200 all-purpose yards. He's going to have 2 touchdowns. I just think the man is going to go nuts this weekend.
Bobby's looking over the bar in the YouTube chat because I think he put in comments that he has to
Heisman game. So you think he's still in the Heisman running, huh?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I think he can if he has especially this game.
This is his game if he wants to make himself a finalist, this is the game to do it.
It reminds me of the Jamal Adams year where he had such a good run and he almost got to the Heisman.
Yeah, but he fizzled off towards the end.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm hoping that he gets stronger at the end.
Jesse's hat, for those who watch Seinfeld, the visual to me is a little bit like, you remember, I'm not going to say the word that everyone's been saying in the chat because I just feel like there's some things that you probably shouldn't say these days. But if you saw the what was the Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, in the hat that Kramer was wearing in that episode, and he's got the cane and he's strolling down the street. That's what Jesse's hat reminds me a little of.
Jesse definitely didn't wear that hat and expect us not to notice.
Well, this is my newest piece of my collection.
You must have an outstanding collection. How many hats do you own?
Over 100.
I'm going to answer the Jeremiyah Love question. My confidence is an 8 out of 10 that he's going to top the 80.9 yards himself. I feel like what's probably going to happen, I feel like Pitt's going to have some success because they are good against the run, but I feel like kind of like the last couple of games, we're going to see a huge, a really long run of 40, 50 plus yards. And that's ultimately what's going to put him over the top on this number. I think play in, play out, Pitt is going to have some success. I really feel like this could be a Jadarian Price type game. Honestly, where maybe, he kind of busts, more consistently, maybe, a little bit longer, than the 3 to 4 yards per pop and that kind of thing. But I do look at NC State's Hollywood Smothers had 8 carries for 86 yards against Pitt, and Pitt gave up 161 rushing yards in that game. Ty Edwards from West Virginia had 141 yards, against Pittsburgh, and they ran for 174. Pitt lost both of those games, by the way. So they didn't lose the NC State game, but but they did lose to West Virginia. So Jeremiyah Love's better than either one of those running backs. So I feel like he's got a really good chance to top that.
Just don't be stupid. Press the edge, get him on the perimeter, some veer action, some quick tosses, some jet motion. Just don't do the Notre Dame thing on every 4th and 1 and just jam the box and think that Jeremiyah Love is just going to break off these huge runs.
Well, and the blessing obviously is that that Notre Dame has so many weapons right now on offense. They're clicking. Everybody knows their offense is good. So the blessing curse thing is that you might have to give some of the other weapons some of the yards, and that would be something that would deter him.
Jesse, do you have the confidence that, they've obviously thrown to Jeremiyah Love some? Do you have the confidence that Notre Dame will strategically try to hit Pitt, maybe with a screen pass or short
100%
of some kind, to beat
100%. I'm going to hammer Jeremiyah Love's over 2.5 receptions. It is going to be the top of my, and I think Eli Raridan is like 2.5 as well. Those are two guys in man coverage where you can really exploit some mismatches. I think
so too.
Jeremiyah Love's going to have a huge game in a huge receiving game. I mean, overall, but he's going to have a really good receiving game.
Do you know off the cuff what his over-under for receiving yards is?
I would probably put it at somewhere around 30 to 40, I think, if I had to guess.
So that'd be a good number. He breaks a couple, and he's already there.
It's usually around 25.
I'll see if I can find it here in a minute. Let's get into this next question first. Over under 3.5 sacks by the Irish defense on Pitt quarterback Mason Heintschell.
The fan in me wants to say over. I'm going to take under because of what you were saying. He's got some mobility to him, a little bit of that Brett Favre, get the ball out, even if he's not taking a sack, just getting away. I would like to see Notre Dame not necessarily get the sacks, but force them into bad throws and turnovers.
I'm going to take the over. I'll take the fan side of this. I don't have the green hat, but I think the over because they're going to be throwing a lot. I think they're going to be down a lot in the game. So they're going to be throwing more, especially at the end of the game. They're just going to be throwing desperate throws, and you get a couple sacks on the last drive or two. I think that's a number they can get over.
John is saying under. I'm going over on this. Craig is saying under. A lot of people consider, again, the number is 3.5. Look, if Syracuse can sack him 7 times and Florida State can sack him 5 times, I'm confident that Notre Dame can sack him 4 times. And really that's all, that's the only thing that the question is looking at is, can Notre Dame get to 4 sacks?
Well, like Jesse said, especially if he's a scrambler and he's running around, you get him outside the pocket and he still can't find anybody downfield. You can get a couple sacks right away.
Scott says Notre Dame doesn't need to rush to win. Maybe they'll have 150. Maybe Love will have 150.
They do need to rush to win. You cannot abandon the run game. I think what you're going to see, how you beat a team like this is you move in motion. I think you'll see Jeremiyah Love motioning in and out of the backfield between the slot receiver and the running back position just based off of looks and matchups that they're getting. In an ideal world, you go 2 running backs, you have Price and Love, and then you motion Love out to the slot, and you can still keep a running back and Love on the field at the same time. But I don't know. Maybe that's in the deep archives of Denbrock's offense.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you don't want to abandon your identity, especially this late in the season. And their identity is a run-first team that opens up the pass. That's what makes Carr good is that they put so many, defenders in the box and he can pick them apart downfield then. You have to establish the run, and that's their strength.
They're not just good. I agree to an extent with what Scott is saying. Like, they don't have to have a massive rushing day to win, but they also can't just abandon the run. And they've shown, like with Navy and Boston College stacking the box these last couple of games, they're not just going to abandon the run. And that's, that's how Jeremiyah Love ended up with both of those long runs against both of those teams, was the fact that they still stuck with it and they were still trying to run the football. And I think they will. Again, I don't think they're just going to sit there and beat their head against a wall and keep doing that. And I don't think that is going to be the case. But I do think that they have to have at least some semblance of a running game. Like, they can't put everything on CJ Carr's arm. But on the other side, I do feel like that's what Pitt is going to have to do with Heintschell. I think that there's going to be I think they're going to try to run the ball, but I don't think they're going to have nearly as much success because their offensive line is not as good. And they obviously don't have as good of running backs either.
I mean, this time of year, you love that kind of smash mouth football.
Yeah. So we're going to go into overtime here in a minute. We're going to wrap up the on-air portion of the show 1st on Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat. Don't forget Notre Dame and Pittsburgh coming up at noon Saturday here on Sports Radio WSBT. The game day show from 8 until 11 a.m. And the guests this week include 3 former Notre Dame players, Terry Hanratty, Trevor Ruland, and Alan Pinkett. So that is all coming up Saturday. We've got Notre Dame women's basketball at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon. And we also have, of course, Notre Dame hockey coming up next year on Sports Radio WSBT as the Fighting Irish host Michigan State. So that is coming up next. We're going to wrap up the on-air radio portion of the show right now, and then we're going to go into overtime on irishbreakdown.com. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with irishbreakdown.com. All right, so we're just going to keep on rolling right now. Jesse, I'll just ask you, I'll come right out. Like, how long do you have? Can you give us 10 minutes? Can you give us 5 minutes?
Hey, as long as we're done before the top of the hour, I think we'll be in good shape.
See, like all
Jesse, is it my fault? You just don't want to hang out with me virtually?
Bobby, you got a little fan there in the chat. I don't know if you saw that. Someone's
I mean, they're not wrong.
Little Brittany action.
Oh, little Brittany.
Yeah.
That's looking good as always, Bobby.
It's almost like she knows me. Thanks, girlfriend.
Everyone's got to have a fan, right?
Well, I mean, I was supposed to be leaving to go get pizza, but now I'm stuck here with you till the top of the hour.
So I'm messing everybody up, is what you're saying.
I mean, you got a date
that you don't have a life, Sean, but the rest of us, we do.
All right. Well, yeah, you're right. I am stuck in a hotel room. Let's just go with this. All right. I'll just wrap it up on this. I wanted to get this one in because, like once we get into this weekend's game, I feel like it's completely dated. We're a little bit old on it right now. I'm going to play Gus Johnson's call on Fox of Indiana's game-winning touchdown pass from Fernando Mendoza to Omar Cooper from last week's Indiana win at Penn State. Here it is.
In trouble! It's out! Touchdown! Wow! Omar Cooper! Unbelievable! Get alive and drag it out! Did he get his foot down?
The ruling of the touchdown is under review.
Oh my goodness! No way!
Okay, so the only thing I really understood was Joel Klatt there at the end. Did he get his foot down? Is that the moment Gus Johnson officially jumped the shark? And before I go any further, do I need to explain to everyone what jump the shark means?
I know Happy Days.
Okay, Bobby knows Happy Days. So I'm the old head. Bobby is at least a little bit old enough. So I'll explain the term jump the shark. There was an episode of the TV show Happy Days, which was a massive hit back in the 1970s and into the early part of the 1980s. They go from Wisconsin. They're like vacationing in Los Angeles. And the Fonz, do you know who the Fonz is, Jesse? Hey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in The Water Boy.
So, yeah, that's right. So the Fonz is water skiing, and there's like this ramp in the water, and he literally goes up the ramp and jumps over a shark on the water skis. And so that is regarded as the moment that the TV show Happy Days officially passed its prime. And that's how the term jump the shark came about, when something essentially has left its best days behind. So was that call that you just heard from Gus Johnson the moment Gus and his Gusgasms officially jumped the shark?
For me, Gus has jumped the shark many years ago. I've never been a Gus fan. I think it's too much. I think you can tell it's like he's trying too hard, it feels like. And I feel like this most previous one was the final kind of like, come on, man. What are we doing here? Like it just doesn't feel, I think the word I'm looking for is authentic. It never feels completely authentic. It feels like he's trying to inject that energy into it. And it's like, man, just give me your natural self. Like I don't need you screaming on the mic and like, no, just give me the natural raw moment with your natural enthusiasm.
Do you think it'd be better if he had a green hat that he killed a Sesame Street character for? No, I agree with you all the way through what you just said. It almost feels like it's scripted. I think that's kind of like we're saying the same thing there. It just feels like he wants to say these things, and it's not natural. It's not organic. He
wants the moment to be bigger than what it actually is every single
He wants
time.
himself on the promos. He wants himself in the moment.
That's not going to get you on a promo. That call, that is not going to get you on the promo. I'm sorry.
But you said we had, I don't remember what week it was, but you asked us to our Mount Rushmore of college football broadcasters. And I specifically said I don't like him. I don't like Gus. He's just too much. It doesn't feel natural.
I've always liked him, but like that wasn't the only time he did that. That shrill shrieking, like you literally couldn't understand what he was saying, and why he felt like he had to push it to that level is beyond me. Because just like typical excited Gus has always, I've loved it. Like his enthusiasm, Kevin Harlan's enthusiasm. Like I've always loved it, but it just like. I think what happens, as someone who calls games, and like I've had some of these moments like earlier in my career as well. Like I've talked before, like my first couple years, Notre Dame women's basketball, 2001, won a national championship. Baseball team went to the College World Series the next year. Well, the ensuing years after that, they were both consistently tournament teams, but they weren't at that level. And so there were definitely times where I found myself sort of, not always consciously, but feeling like you're sort of trying to manufacture the same excitement and enthusiasm because of the fact that, like you've kind of experienced those moments before. And that's what it feels like. Gus is just kind of maybe at this, like he's done it so much, like maybe his enthusiasm level isn't what it used to be. And he's trying to manufacture it now, because that was just awful. That was again, you couldn't understand anything he was saying. That is one of the worst possible calls I've seen from someone at that level of TV broadcasting.
It's one of the worst calls you heard. You didn't see it.
Well, I watched it on TV and I heard it. Yeah.
But the difference is, you would say that to me if I had said it. That's why. But the difference is you were covering teams that were not great. That moment that he covered up was one of the greatest moments of the whole college football season.
True.
Of the whole year.
A lot of people think it's the best moment of the season.
The moment can speak for itself.
And that's why you've got to hit it. That's why you've not got to do that garbage. And you've got to hit it with the appropriate amount. Like if he just hit like 80% of that, it probably would have been a great call. But for some reason, he felt like he had to push it higher.
In the big games, in the big moments, in the big calls, I always think less is more. I like to hear the background noise. I like to hear how, and I get it. Maybe, the crowd mic isn't going crazy or whatever, but like, I like to let the moment take care of it. And then you insert yourself to a degree, but definitely not to the degree that Gus.
Right. Like the Vin Scully, Kirk Gibson home run as an example. Like, obviously Jesse, you weren't alive then. And I don't know if like you've seen, the
fist bump,
replays and YouTube. Yeah. Well, no, like the whole, when he's rounding the bases, but Scully, she is gone, and then he stops talking after that, and he let the crowd noise take over, and he let the camera take over, and like I don't think he talked for like 3 or 4 minutes after that. He just let the pictures absorb what they were saying, and really all Gus Johnson had to do is give a good touchdown. And
did he get in? Yes.
Let the crowd take over, lay out for a minute.
We need you on the call.
No, actively not. But like, to your point though, like did you believe in miracles? And then Al Michaels let off so the hockey would play out.
Right.
And you see them all celebrating and they won the game. All the best calls, it seems like the call goes with the moment. You can't make the call the moment. And that's what Gus Johnson does on a regular basis.
It's a good way to put it.
Have you ever had a canned line or something you knew you would say in a situation?
The only time I've ever done anything like in terms of like the actual, like what's happening, in the course of the game, I've always like if you try to prepare something, you're probably going to screw it up and you're going to trip over, yourself and that kind of thing. There were a couple times, and again, this was like back in the Dave Schrag, years. So it was like looking for some fun things to do. But like, a couple of the assistant Notre Dame baseball coaches would give me a movie line before the game, and they were like, work this in somewhere. And there was one, we were down in Florida, and this Notre Dame player named Matt Grosso. Do you remember Matt Grosso, Jesse? Like little skinny guy. He hit a home run, and the line was from Shrek. It was, get in my belly. And so after he hit the home run, I dropped that in there. And there was another one from
That's
Wedding
dangerous.
Crashers.
That could be your catchphrase.
Another one from Wedding Crashers. Grab that net and catch that beautiful butterfly pal. I worked that one in one time on a hit. So that was like, those are the only times. It was just, it's like they would give me a movie line before the game, and they were like, work this in. Those are the only times where I ever, tried to do anything.
But you don't have a catchphrase.
No.
All right. Plenty of time to work on that. A lot of season left for the women.
Well, you guys can always feed me, Seymour.
Get in my belly.
Yeah, get in my belly. I don't know. It feels like a little bit much at this point.
So is Gus.
That's very tryou. All right. Well,
we got game predictions. Don't leave me hanging on game predictions.
all right. Let's do our game prediction here real quick. Notre Dame. Do you want to do like Notre Dame in addition to a couple of these other games that I've got here? Okay. So first of all, Jeremiyah Love's official FanDuel receiving yards number is 27.5. That feels like an easy over to me. Almost too easy.
I'm taking the over for sure. I'm tempted to take every Notre Dame wide receiver over. Anyone who can catch a ball in this game, I'm very tempted to take the over.
Yeah, I think over. I know these numbers are usually pretty close, and like even when it looks like a slam dunk, it always ends up so close. But I always say like one big catch and you're already at that number. It doesn't take much. It's one catch and one break tackle and you're down the field.
Okay. Notre Dame favored by 12.5 at Pittsburgh. We'll just go.
Saw something today. Notre Dame is 35-0 in their last 35 competitions as 7-point or more road favorites. I think they're going to crush this line. When you want my prediction, you let me know, because I think they're going to absolutely smoke this
right
line.
now. Go.
I got Notre Dame winning 44-17.
Okay.
So that would be definitely on the over. Or the cover and the spread. I think the same thing. It's always amazing. Like even last week, it felt close. Then you look at the score at the end. It's like, well, if you gambled on it, you comfortably covered everything that you wanted in terms of points. I think the same thing. I'm going to go way over. I think they probably win something like 35-10. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think Notre Dame's still going to be making those style points. And that's what helps too, is because if they didn't need the style points at the end of the game, they might take the foot off the gas. But I think they're definitely going to keep going all the way through the end.
Yeah, I think this is a game. Notre Dame is going to force some turnovers. They're going to force Pitt's probably going to turn the ball over more than they've turned over this season. And I took the over on that sack number of 3.5. I've got Notre Dame 35-17 in this game. So they're comfortably covering. And I think that would be maybe just a little bit under the point total, which I think is 55.5. Like most of Notre Dame's games tend to fall in there. Now, some other big games of significance this weekend. Alabama is a 5.5-point favorite against Oklahoma. Does anybody like the Sooners outright in this game?
No, and I think Bama covers that 5.5.
I would never pick Oklahoma. I follow Texas too closely. No, I think Oklahoma, their season's still on life support. So, and Alabama's kind of getting better as the season rolls on. So I would definitely think that they cover that one pretty heavily.
Yeah, I think, like Mateer's hand is supposed to be better. And I just feel like when you look at
I'm not bought in on him being back. 100%.
No, I'm not bought in on him being back. And I think he's got to be like his A++ game to win this game, especially since it's on the road. Like when you look at who Oklahoma's lost to, it's both ranked teams. And this is the best team that they've seen so far this year. That includes Texas, Bobby. So
I'm surprised that number is so close, though. I think
I am
5,
too.
You could at least double that.
I was going to say at least like 7.5 is kind of probably what I was thinking. But yeah, I like Oklahoma, even given those 5.5 points to win outright. Georgia, 6.5-point favorite against Texas, and Bobby is a Longhorn fan. So, are you confident in this game?
No, I don't know if Georgia's as good as people think, though. So that's where I think
agree.
Texas might be able to hang in the game. Those points are nice. I think it'll be a close one. I think Georgia's probably the better team, but I don't think that they're the top 5 team that everybody thinks they are just because they're in the SEC and because they have Georgia on their uniform. So I would say Texas will be in the game, but I don't think they can pull it out. I think both teams have weaknesses. I think the SEC itself isn't as good as everybody thinks, but Georgia probably wins by a couple points.
Bobby's spot on this one. I think Texas covers the spread, but I think they're going to lose the game by probably about 2 or 3 points, a field goal. I think if Texas hosted this game, it could be a different story. I think it would come down to literally the last possession. I think Texas might win it, but give me Texas to cover 6.5, but Georgia to win.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. Texas, like their struggles have been on the road. You know, like you said, am I completely sold on Georgia? No, but they're at home, and like Alabama is really one of the only teams that they lose to at home. So I see Georgia covering this game, or I see Texas playing a close game, but I see Georgia winning outright.
And Arch Manning isn't the guy that Texas fans were hoping for before the season started.
Yeah, that's true too. Ooh, Scott says, hot take, Georgia is not a top 12 team this season. I think that they are, just because there aren't enough other teams that are better than them. Like is Georgia down this year? Definitely. Like if this were any other year, they might not be a top 12 team. But between NIL and rev sharing and everything and transfer portal, as we've seen, the talent pool is spread around a lot more. So I think that's the biggest thing working against Georgia. So I don't think they're as good as most Georgia teams, but I still think for this year they're a top 12 team. But I get I think I'm philosophically, I think I'm agreeing with what Scott is saying, but I still think that they are top 12 this year.
Right now they play tomorrow, neutral field. Who wins, Notre Dame or Georgia?
Notre Dame.
I take Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's what. So and Notre Dame's ranked right around that number. So I think Georgia deserves to be, pretty far down. We'll see what happens after this weekend. It's definitely a
Georgia would
weekend.
only be better defensively, maybe.
Yeah. David says, is Christian Gray healthy for this game? He is. He is off the injury report after missing the last 2 games, and he is expected to play this game. They took him. He's not even questionable going in. So we'll see Notre Dame at full strength in terms of the secondary in this game. Okay, last game, number 17 USC, a 6.5-point favorite, hosting number 21 Iowa. Do we see Iowa having any shot in this game?
I think last week was a messy, tough physical game against Oregon. Came down to it. They lost. I think USC is going to crush their soul this weekend. They're going to kick them out of the top 25. I think they covered this 6.5. I think USC actually rolls pretty comfortably in this game.
Yeah, I think USC probably wins by like 20, and then they announce after the game they're going independent. No, I really do think USC is going to win this game, but I don't even know if either one of them is going to end up ranked at the end of the season. I think it's a game that's kind of a throwaway at this point because both teams, their seasons are over.
I think Iowa can hold USC's points down a little bit, but even though Iowa is better offensively this year, I mean, that is still a relative term. They're just not a good offensive team. They're still a good defensive team. So maybe they hold, USC to around 27, 28 points, something like that. That'll be a success, but I don't see them scoring more than 13 points. So it's probably in that range. So I see USC both covering and winning outright in this game. And obviously that's good for Notre Dame.
That's just that helps them. And I just wish I could touch Jesse's hat. I just want to play with the rim of it, see what it feels like.
You got some pizza with Brittany to get to, okay? We don't need to be touching this hat.
Oh, he's trying to give you the rap, Sean.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with that. Both of you, thanks. Thanks to Brittany and Naomi for being hopefully understanding that we went a little bit long tonight, but it felt like we were rushing through a lot of good content. So I wanted to make sure that we got some good stuff in here.
You've been off the last couple days, so we get it.
I know. That's part of it too. It's like I sat here and had nobody to talk to. So yeah, lots lag. Yeah.
Yeah, butt slag.
All right, Jesse, enjoy the trip to Pittsburgh. Enjoy the game. Have fun. Everybody else,
Irish.
of course.
Look
enjoy
for
the
this
game.
hat on the 50-yard line behind Notre Dame's bench, about 20 rows up. That's where it'll be.
All
Look
right.
for it on the camera as you see CJ Carr airing the ball out.
You're behind the Notre Dame bench?
Behind the Notre Dame bench, 50-yard line, 20 rows up.
Oh, 50. All right. I'll have to see.
What
if
we
you
need
can
is
see
Sean
it.
to clip it, a still of you when the camera pans by so that we can have that on the show next week.
Got his green hat on. All right. Enjoy the weekend. We will talk to you Monday. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com.